Okay, we are on page 315. We are still going to use estimation to add and subtract our decimals, but this time we need to figure out if we need to know exactly how much or if an estimation will work. Sometimes an estimation won't work in certain scenarios, so that's what this lesson is all about. Again, we're on page 315. So it says Mrs. Trainer needs to purchase a classroom response clicker and a new calculator. A clicker costs $31.99 and a calculator costs $11.75. About how much money will it cost to buy both? So what factors do we need to know? Mrs. Trainer needs to buy a clicker for $31.99 and she also needs to buy a calculator for $11.75. So we need to find out how much it will cost to buy both of those. So then let's plan. Let's estimate or round, I'm going to put estimate, the cost of the clicker and the calculator. So let's round. We have $31.99. I'm going to round that to 32. And $11.75 is going to round up to 12. So now essentially I have 32 plus 12, which is 44. So Mrs. Trainer will need to spend about $44 for the two items. And let's just see if we can do it another way just to see if that's close. We have 30 and 10, so we rounded these to the tens place. So $31.99 rounds to 30, and $11.75 rounds to 10. That is going to equal $40. And I would say that's about reasonable because $44 is about $40. Now, if she goes to the store with $40 though, she will not have enough to buy both of them. So it's better when you are using money typically to round up, like if you're planning for something, round up. That way you will end up with more money than you need. So you can see here we rounded up, and this one we rounded up, so we're going to have more than enough money, whereas in this case we probably won't have enough money. All right, on 316, Madison's family drove to her grandparents' house. They drove 58 and 6/10 miles in the first hour, 67 and 2/10 miles in the second hour, and 60 and 5/10 miles in the third hour. They followed the same route to return home. About how far did Madison's family travel? So the first thing that we know, so again we're going to understand, is that they drove 58.6 miles, or 58 and 6/10 in the first hour. They drove 67 and 2/10 in the second hour, and 60 and 5/10 in the third hour miles. We need to find how far did they travel all together. And keep in mind this is only one way. Don't forget they also followed the same route home. How far did they travel? Okay, so let's plan. The first thing I'm going to do is round my miles, add them up, and then I'm going to double it. Why am I doubling it? Because it says they followed the same route home. So this is just one direction. We're going to follow the same route back home, so we're going to double it. So essentially we're going to be driving these miles twice. So let's first round these. So I'm going to round 58 and 6/10 to 60. I'm going to round 67 and 2/10 to 70, and 60 and 5/10 to 60. So then that's 12 plus 7, so 190 miles. Again, that's just one direction, so now I'm going to double it. You can either do 190 plus 190 or multiply it times 2. I like to multiply it, and we get 380 miles altogether. Now we're going to check for reasonableness. If they drove, let's look at this, about 60 hours I'm sorry, 60 miles in 1 hour, right? So I know this is 70, but let's just say about 60 miles an hour. And they drove for 6 hours altogether. Why is it 6 hours? Well, keep in mind, they drove 3 hours one way. So if I go back up here, first hour, second hour, third hour, so that's 3 hours. And then they're going to drive the same route home. So that's, again, 3 hours one way, 3 hours the other way, so that's 6 hours. So I'm going to take about 60 miles an hour, and I'm going to multiply that by 6 for 6 hours. That's 36 with a 0 at the end. 360 is about 380, so that's good. All right, 317. Now we're going to determine whether you need an estimate or an exact answer to solve each problem. So again, this is where we need to know if an estimate is going to be okay, if we can get away with that. In a lot of cases, that will work. Sometimes it won't, so that's what we're going to do. It says a restaurant can make 95 dinners each night. The restaurant has been sold out for 7 nights in a row. About how many dinners were sold during the week? Now it says how many dinners were sold during the week. We're going to do 95 times 7. Off on the side here. That's 63 plus 3 is 66. So they need to make, or I'm sorry, they sold 665 dinners. This is an exact answer. And why do I need it to be exact? Because a restaurant can make 95 dinners each night, and if we're going to be sold out, I need to make sure I'm making as many dinners as I have to make. So I'm going to need an exact answer, which is 665. Okay, a gardener has 35 feet of fencing to enclose the garden shown. About how much fencing will be left over after the garden is enclosed? So what we're going to do is I'm just going to round all of these and then add them up and then see if we have enough fencing. So again, this one's going to be probably closer to 5. We'll check that off. This is going to round to 5. This will round to 5. This will round to 8. And this one will round to 8. I'm sorry, if this is 4.3, that should be a 4. The first one should be a 4. 4.3 would round down to 4. Okay, so let's add these up, and then I'll subtract them from 35. So that's 9, 14, 22, 30. So we have 35 minus 30. About how much fencing will be left over? About 5 feet. See that keyword about. So again, I don't need an exact, I just need an estimation. Okay, a family is renting a cabin for $59.95 a day for 3 days. They rent a canoe each day for $8.50. About how much will they pay? So this is $60 a day for 3 days. So we're going to do 60 times 3, which is 180. They rent a canoe each day. So that, again, that's for 3 days for $8.50. $8.50 is going to round up to 9. So we're going to do 9 times 3. So to rent the canoe is $27. Now we need to add them together. 180 plus $27 is about $207. About. Because we have that keyword there, about. 4 friends ordered 2 pizzas. The cost of each pizza is $13.80. About how much will each friend pay if they share the cost equally? Okay, so again, about. So let's round this up to $14, and we're buying 2 of those. So we do 14 plus 14, or 14 times 2, to get the cost of the pizzas. So it's $28 for the pizzas. We want to share the cost equally among 4 people. That means I'm going to divide. So here it's important that we know our operation words. We're going to divide that among our 4 friends. So again, we have the total of the bill divided by the 4 people that are eating the pizzas So each person is going to pay about $7. Okay. I would like you to try to do 6 through 10, and then we hopefully will have enough time to go through it. Then you're going to go all the way to page 321 and do check my progress, because you will have a quiz after this, so it's important that we know how to round, and we know how to estimate addition and subtraction problems. Okay, so you're going to finish those couple problems on the back side, and then you're going to jump to 321 and do the check my progress. I would like you to also try 322 to kind of prepare yourself for the quiz.